Hey, what's up? Long time no see. Oh, just come back from a meeting. Not a meeting, appointment. Doctor clinic appointment. Well, it's been a while since I made a video. Maybe not that long. But I want to talk about the things that are seen and unseen in a way. So, try to put this a little closer here. I'm over here at the Prayers Mountain, like always. Uh, it's just been a very crazy experience and long, been like a long journey. It kind of feels that way. Now, everybody that knows me, I'm always speaking about God, and I'm always talking about God, and talk about things that people have never seen or heard of or experienced. And, they see me as a crazy person because they have not gone through it, they have not seen it, they have not comprehended any of it. So it makes it difficult for someone not to know something and then like kind of um, try to believe in something like that, right? So um, the thing is, every individual have their relationship with God. They have their own relationship with God, which He requires that. He requires relationship, not religion. Okay, not to be religious and none of all that stuff. He wants you to be spiritually in a relationship with Him. Physically, let me see. Phone call. All right, there is a phone call interrupting. I should put not disturb, right? I think that should work that way. Let me try doing that. All right, so nothing should disturb me now. Because that's how Satan works. He will bring phone calls, people, anything to distract you from talking about things of God, hearing about the things of God, just like right now, like he did. He'll make these phone calls come through, and a bunch of these phone calls are scammers anyway. So we're not paying attention to that. Now, one thing I will tell you now that we're talking about that, see, when God wants you to do something, which I spoke about before, when God wants you to do something for Him, you should not worry about anything that would try to take that time away from you doing what He wants you to do. When He sends you to pray for somebody or talk to somebody about God or about whatever needs to be talked about, or He wants you to go somewhere, do something. If you see something in between that tries to stop you from doing something, ignore it. Regardless if it's your mom, your son, your daughter, your friend, your coworker, the president, it doesn't matter who. You do not stop what you're going to go do or stop doing what you're doing to give attention or give time to whatever it is that is interfering with your call or whatever you're doing at the moment. Because God will take care of that situation regardless. Now, and put in an example because some people will not understand what I'm talking about. When you're going to go do something, like you're about to go help that person, you're about to go talk to that person, whatever it is you're about to do to that person, they just say at a Dollar General, she's walking out, and God told you to talk to her or do this for her, whatever. At the moment you're doing that, a phone call enters. Say you're a family person, or you are a humble person, you're whatever person, you're a person that will do stuff for others. You will never ignore no one. You always there for everybody. You want to do things for people. You want to help, or a person like me. Well, the thing is that our heart will be like, oh, it's my daughter. Well, something's wrong, or it's my daughter. I'm gonna see what she needs. You always want to put your family first. You want to put your friends first and your job first, and you want to do those things because you're naturally like that. But when it comes down to God, you are supposed to ignore those things. I know it sounds like, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Just keep listening. When you ignore these people, God will take care of that situation. Because God is sending you to go do something. He's not gonna send you to go do something when he knows something else about to happen. Like he's not gonna put you in a position where um so like I said, an example where you're gonna help, right? Your daughter's calling. Um Trust me, that phone call is not that important, regardless how it seems. It's not that important to answer it and to let God's situation or calling or duty set aside to go do earthly things. You know what I mean? And you can't use your feelings to put God's stuff aside to go deal with your emotional feelings or the way you feel towards whatever's happening. So you do not answer the phone call, okay? And I'll tell you this so that you know I'm not lying. If you ignore those other things that are trying to distract you, finish what you're doing with God, and believe this. Right after you're done with doing what God's doing, go back and try to take care of that situation then. Promise, not promise you can't promise anything. But believe this. Check it out and watch it wasn't that important to put God's stuff aside to go do that. One thing is, first of all, it's gonna be taken care of by somebody else or something. It wasn't that important. Okay, it wasn't something that it needed to be heard or said or done at that moment. And also, it could be that you will see that it was like something that wasn't even needed at the moment. So you'll start seeing those things, okay? But you have to finish God's calling first or duty, and then you'll start realizing what really was going down, okay? Because that's how the enemy uses others and other people in other situations to stop you from doing what God really wants you to do. Because when God wants you to do something, it's going to be done by the way He wants it done because it needs to be done that way so that it may be glorified. His name may be glorified. So, and like I said, I given this example before and everything, and I'll give you an example, and some people know about this. So, I'm gonna give you a real life story example. I started understanding that about God, where He wanted me to do stuff, and I was noticing other things would distract me in between, and things weren't getting done on time. Because when God sends you to do something, it's on time. It cannot wait a second later or nothing like that. It has to be at the time He's saying it, okay? Because if you don't do it on the time He's saying it, it's useless. If you try to do that afterwards or try to do it so early so you can trust me. Trust this word. It is useless. It is no longer valid. You just did if you did it afterwards or before like that, believe this. It was pointless. You did it for nothing. Regardless if it was for God or for whatever, it is pointless, is useless, is valid. Invalid, sorry. Is invalid. It's not going to be like what you call that, it's not gonna be a, it's not gonna be given as a reward, okay? Put it that way. You're not gonna get reward for that. Let me give you the real life story. I was going, okay, now I start working for Lyft. I was doing Lyft because I was only there to tell people that Jesus Christ loves them and speak to them about the word. That's the only reason I was doing it. Now, on the bonus side, not the bonus side, but on the extra side, I was getting the money. Only the money I required a daily. I told God I only needed $100, so $100 He would give me every day, regardless of 4 hours, 8 hours. It doesn't matter. It always came through. That's when I would stop. Now, in the moment I'm in the car, it's not about money. Ever was ever about money. It was about them. Whoever was in my ride, it's about them hearing the word of God, hearing that Jesus Christ loves them, and that whatever God wanted me to tell them, I'll tell them. Okay, so now that's my duty. Okay, my duty is get in the car, speak to them, do what I need to do, and I ain't worried about nothing else. Okay, nothing outside of the car did not matter. It was just about me, him, and God. So there's this point where I was going to an airport, right? But before the airport, I was speaking to my baby mama, right? And she had somebody that wanted a ride. I don't know how to charge them because Lyft charged them. So I was like, whatever she wants to give me, it's fine. I'll take her to the airport. It's fine. It don't matter. Whatever she feel like giving, I'm okay with it. I'm just here to help people. Well, I felt like, okay, that was my responsibility, my time, my appointed time to get somebody a ride and help them. And God says, if someone needs help, you got to help them. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't say I'll come back later or tomorrow to come help somebody. If it's in your hands, if it's in your power to help somebody at that moment, you do it then, you know? So now it's not right at the moment, but it was kind of like a moment for me because I gotta help that person, right? That person needs help, so I'm the only person they're depending on besides God. So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna help them. So I let them know, hey, well, let me know when they're ready, and I'll do it. And then I said, okay. So I was went and picked somebody up. And when you drop somebody off, when I worked in Live, when you drop somebody off, your phone may ring and say, "Hey, somebody's right here. I need you to pick this person up, take them somewhere over there." You just get different riders. So I was taking somebody to the airport. Now I'm going to the airport, drop somebody out, which I don't like going to the airport, but I was gonna go to the airport, take somebody. I went and dropped that person off. When I dropped that person off, I was gonna turn off my active that work whatever GPS or whatever it is, the app. I was trying to turn off the app. Okay, so why? So I wouldn't get nobody to blink because I always accepted every single. I never rejected a single one. So I knew if it turned on, I'm gonna accept it. And I didn't want to accept it because I need to go take somebody else to the airport, which I'm waiting on their phone call, which it was my baby mama's friend. So I was deciding, okay, well, let me go ahead and turn it off as soon as I dropped them off. So I pushed it to finish the drop off, and as soon as I did that, another one popped up. It didn't even give me a chance or a second or moment to even it was instant. So I was like, oh man, should I reject it? But I was like, no, I'm not supposed to turn it off. I'm not supposed to decline. And what my job is to tell people inside this car that Jesus Christ loves them. So this person just needs to get in my car now. Well, I had to go. I got him. Pride or not pride, I went. And I picked this person up right there. I dropped them off, and right there, I needed to pick somebody else. So I went forward, picked that person up, and I'm going. And the guy was like, I said, so where are you gonna get dropped off? And he was like, oh, way over there. And I'm like, okay, because my map it seemed long, like like the road, the map was just showing that it was kind of out there, so I couldn't even really see where that city was at. So I was like, okay. He told me what city, and I was like, all right. I was like, well, I think that was down the street, but in reality, it wasn't. It was pretty long. It was like 45 minutes or so to an hour. I'm getting out the airport, and he started talking to me. I told him Jesus Christ loves you and this and that, and he just started talking like, hey, how's it going and this and that. I was like, and then I told him about God at the moment right then, and he started listening. He was interested in it, and I told him, I said, look, man, I said, my baby mama's calling. I said, she keeps calling me. I was like, they needed a ride. Some friend of her needed a ride to an airport. And I was supposed to go do that right now. Right when she gave me a phone call, I'm supposed to go pick her up right then. You know what I mean? Once she gave me a phone call, it's because she's confirming, hey, come pick her up and take her to the airport. So I told the guy, I said, but look, I'm not going to answer that phone call because I'm doing what God wants me to do here. And my job here is to talk to you about God, tell you Jesus Christ loves you, man. And anything that tries to interfere this, I was like, God will take care of that. Now, I'm inside was trying to get worried, you know, like worried that that person's not gonna have a ride to the airport because of my fault. So I'm worried about that. I was worried about she's gonna get mad at me. I was gonna worry about why didn't I answer? She's gonna start yelling or something. Like all this starts to come because it's called respect their person, right? So basically, I was worried about that, about what they're about to tell me after, like, oh, you're a liar, or you know what, you didn't set this, you told me a lie, you say you were gonna do that, and you stood us up, like all this worried about what was gonna happen because it was my responsibility, my word that I was supposed to go do that. Okay, but I knew in my mind and I knew in my heart that God already had been showing me that don't worry about those things. Don't worry about your son if they call. Don't worry about your son is going to the hospital and they're saying that he's dying. Don't worry about they got in a car accident. Don't worry. God was telling me, don't worry about any of that when I'm sending you to do something. That's what he was showing me. He was telling me that. He was telling me not to worry about nothing. And I said, so to me, it was like, a man, who wants a baby mama drama? Nobody. So, and especially their friend, and they're depending on me. Like, it's a lot of worry and it's a lot of like fear coming in. But I held back and I said, no, I know what I'm doing and I know God's gonna take care of that situation. So I told the guy, I said, man, I ain't worried about that call, man. I said, she wanted me to take a friend to the airport and everything. I'm supposed to be going right now. I'm supposed to be there at this time. And you know what? Like, I'm not going to make it. That's first clue. I'm not going to make it. That's already a sign that God is taking care of that situation. Because if you can't make it on time, and God is a God on time, so if I'm not going to be on time to take somebody, don't even worry about it because God is going to take care of that when you're doing his. That's the first sign. Second sign, you'll start seeing it. So I told the guy that, and I said, "Hey, well, I'm just gonna take you, man. Like, God's gonna take care of that situation, and He's shown this to me, and I ain't worried about it. Uh, my job is to take you where you need to go." That dude was like, "Whoa!" Like he was listening. He was like, "Then you have a lot of faith," and I was like, "I trust in God. I have to trust in Him." If he's telling me to do this, I'm gonna do it because I need to trust that he's gonna take care of my situation. He's always told me, do my stuff. When you do my stuff, I take care of everything in your life, everything around you. Don't worry about anything. So I was like, I'm not gonna worry then. You know what I mean? He told me I ain't gonna worry about it. And that guy could not believe I was acting like that and I was actually being that. But I mean, he was surprised at the same time and feeling happy and joy that I was that type of person. Now, also, my car was messing up. My car was messing up at that time. It had a problem with the Cadillac converter. Out of nowhere, boom, it wouldn't let me drive. It would let me drive only 40 miles an hour, stuff like that. Well, this man needed to get somewhere at a certain time. We're talking about this guy said, he said, well, the time said that, he needs to arrive at that time. Think he was getting picked up by bus or he needed whatever it is. I forgot. I knew he needed to get picked up. He needed to be there on time. Well, my car was working fine at the time. I knew it had an issue, but I still went for it because I was trying to make money. I'm trying to do what guys want me to do. So it was like I didn't worry about it. So I got on. I was on the highway, and we're like almost halfway there. Almost halfway there. I mean, we're talking about 75% away from being where we need to be. So I'm going to like 65%, and my car in the middle of the highway stops driving fast. The Cadillac converter start acting up. My lightning bolt sign shows up, and the throttle, all that just messed up. So what it does is keeps your car from an accident. So like when your wheel, ABS, all that starts to act up, then your car, for safety reason, it would stop your car and make your car only run for like 30, 40 miles. Mine was going like 40, 50 miles max. I was like, oh, this can't be happening to me. I told him, I said, this cannot be happening to me. And he's like, hey, man, like, do I need to call another Lyft? Because, I mean, your car's. I was like, man. I said, nah, man. I said, we'll get there. He said, but I need to be there on time. I cannot be late. I can't even be a minute late. Like, they're picking me up at this time. So I wasn't too sure it was a bus or whatever. He's like, they're picking me up at this time, and I need to be there. And I was like, man, you know what, man? I have been driving this. I told him like that. I've been driving Lyft for a long time. Not for a long time, but for a while. I've been in a relationship with God for a long time. God is never a God that comes late. Never a God that does things late. He's a God on time. We make it on time. I've been doing this Lyft, and I've been seeing that God puts me in positions where it seems impossible. It seems crazy to get somewhere on a certain time, and it makes it possible. He makes it possible one way or another. I get there on time. Always been like that. Regardless what situation and then regardless how bad it looks, I know he comes through for me. He does. He always comes through for me. Always. So I didn't worry. I mean, we're talking about we're like 45 to an hour away. This guy needs to be there in that time. I didn't know how I was gonna make it on that time. I really didn't know. 'Cause 40 miles an hour, I already had it calculated. If I go my normal speed, I'll be there on the time he needs to be there. That means no traffic, none of that. My car starts slowing at 40 miles an hour. That means there's gonna be more time. That means there's gonna be less time. Like I'm not gonna get there on time. I just myself, according to physical earthly thought, no, I'm not gonna make it there. And to nobody in everybody's common sense, I'm not making it there. But in my spiritual knowledge and my trust and belief in God, I'm gonna make it there. I don't know how I'm making it there. That guy was getting more surprised and more shocked about how I'm acting. And he's thinking, whoa, you really trust in God. Like you really believe you're gonna make it on time. I was like, man, God always makes that way. He always on God on time. Like we're gonna be there. Trust him. Trust God. We're gonna make it there. He's never failed. God's never failed. So I said, well, you can call an Uber if you want to call Lyft, you can. It's fine. That's of your choice. But I'm gonna get you there. I'm gonna get you there regardless. He's like, all right, man. All right. I need to be there. I'm just letting you know. I was like, all right. He said, but if you know you can, just let me know. I'll call. I was like, well, it's your choice. I said, you choose what you want to do. But to me, I'm gonna get you there. He started believing. I don't know. He just started trusting. He's like, all right, man. He said, dang. We went for it. And I think at a moment I stopped because when you stop and I take out the negative part and positive, I leave for like a minute, put it back on. That thing activates, it resets, and then I'm able to drive right again until it messes up again. But it never messed up in the middle of the highway like that. It messes up when I turn it off and then try to turn it back on. But this one messed up in the middle of the highway. It was like, like another worry that was trying to get to me. But I was like, no, I gotta trust in him. And I went for it. And I went for it. And we're going, and I think I remember stopping the car, if I'm correct, because it happened twice. So I'm trying to get the story correct. I think I get off and I try to do it and end up working. Okay, end up working for a little bit and then boom, it happened again. So I mean, I was getting close to there and then it happened again. So then I was like, and I'm looking at the time and we're almost getting there. And then it's like traffic and then this. Next thing you know, we get there. I looked at the time. I said, dude, I think we were like 5 minutes or 3 minutes before the time he wanted to be there. We got there and I told him, I said, I told you, man, God is a God on time. I said, we got here. He said, I don't know how you did that. I said, me neither. I didn't even know how we got here, dude. Like on that time, like I wasn't paying attention to time. I was so focused on trying to see if this thing would start or keep going faster or whatever. And he's like, man, I ain't never seen this. Like I ain't. He's like, man, you really got me thinking. And I was like, yeah, man. Like trusting God, man. Always trusting God, dude. Regardless how bad it looks, if He tells you to do something, do it. And all this, right? Now, I believe before we even arrived and all that ever happened on the car part, my baby mom was still calling. Now, I answered it because I was able to answer it. So there's a way I was able to answer. I answered it. And I told her, I said, hello? She said, Alex, never mind. Found somebody else. Somebody else is going to take her. I was just calling you to let you know that she found another ride. And I said, oh, all right. I knew it. All right, bye. And I hung up. And I told the guy, I remember, I forgot. I had told the guy, I said, I told you. What did I tell you? If I would have had not checking your call, your set your drive, then look at that. I would have had wasted my time going all the way over there. You know what I mean? Like thinking I was gonna go pick her up. Now, then she would have gave me a phone call. I would have answered. She said, "Never mind." That means I lost you as a driver, the money that was involved, and I'm now far away. And if I don't get nobody, then it's basically gas wasted. Like it was just better. It just wouldn't worked out. Like I said, it just doesn't work out. It was useless. So that's what I'm saying. I trusted God. He wanted me to pick that person up. He said, I'm gonna take care of that other person for you because that person over there is not important for me right now for you to have in your car or talk to. I'm gonna take care of that. Your situation where you need to go away over there and pick somebody else, take them to the airport. But I need you to take care of this man. I need you to show him something. I want you to tell him and show him something. And I told him and I showed him in action. This wasn't, oh, I trust in God, this happened. Like I'm telling y'all a story. This was a real life story as is happening. He's seeing it with his own eyes. He's experiencing. And what I'm saying, I'm already claiming things already before it happens. And it happens. And he sees it and he believes it. So that's up to him. He wants to keep believing or he wants to ignore it. It doesn't matter. I have done my part. God did his. He needs to do his. And so that's what I mean. Their situation is going to seem like you need to go do that because that's your word or you know you gave a promise or whatever. Respect their person is no. Promising people, don't do it. Don't swearing, promising, all that, don't do it. Because you know not what tomorrow will bring to you, okay? You don't know what tomorrow has for you. So you don't know the next steps. So it's best not to promise because you don't know what's gonna happen. So it's best to say, well, I'll try. If I show up, then okay. If I don't, then you always want to secure that area by not promising and securing that area, which you cannot control life like that. So it's best to never just promise or say that you're gonna do something. It's best to just always, hey, I'm trying. I'll try, or I'll see what's up, or this and that. Because especially when you're dealing with God, like if you're dealing with God, have a relationship with God, you're trying to obey God or follow God or do something for God, you cannot be doing any type of promises because it's not gonna work. He will lead you there. The world will lead you that way. So you don't want to do that. And then you don't want people hating on you just because you want to make a promise. That's why he's challenging you. It's because it prevents you from having so much issues and problems with the world when you're doing all this promise stuff. He don't want you to do that. And at the same time, you yourself feel better about yourself. You don't feel worry, stress, depressed, angry, anxiety, or all this because you can't keep your word with somebody when you're a faithful person and keeping your word. So it's best not to put that out there like that to people. So just letting you know that. Um, so trust in God when He's telling you to do something, regardless if I'm telling you. There'll be positions where you would just ignore what God had just told you to do. Like it gets that bad. Like imagine your son calling you, like he never calls you. And if he ever calls you or your kids, right? Your kids only call you when there's an emergency. Imagine that. If your kids only call you when there's an emergency and you're doing something what God's telling you to do and your kids call. I mean, trust me or believe me that every person is gonna want to answer. And a lot of percentage, maybe 99% of people are going to answer their kids' call in that situation. There is. Unless you know personally, not just know, not just hear about, not just read, but you know God personally, and you spend time with Him daily, like you're kicking with Him, you're chilling with Him, you're spending time with Him. When you get to know Him, then you will not answer that phone call because you know what's up, you know what He's gonna do, and you know what you need to do, and you do that by talking to Him, praying to about others. People need prayers. Reading, meditating, fasting. A lot of those things would you, it's a way of spending time with God and getting to know Him. Not hearing about Him or reading about Him, knowing Him. It takes a lot of those things to know somebody. It takes experience to know God as well. If you ain't been through the fire, you ain't been through the road, you ain't been through that journey, you cannot say you know God. Can't know God. Like you gotta know God. You gotta go through a lot of things to know Him that much, or even that little, because that much, no, He's infinite. So that little. So when people say, "Oh, I know God, I have God," just by saying that, I already know they don't. I'm sorry, I don't offend nobody, but you get offended, that's on you. But I'm letting you know you're not in a relationship with Him like that. You may know one thing or two, but the way you're acting it changes. It says you'll know them by their fruits, right? So there's many ways of knowing people by their fruits. So it's just you'll know when someone worries. They say they trust in God, but they worry. Right? It doesn't make sense, right? So like if I love people, but you hating people. When you see contradictions or you see opposite, you know, actions of anything, you'll know them by their fruit. If you know, then you'll know that. But if you don't, you're the same as them. Well, you never know that. You just think that's normal. But I'm just letting you know, just trust in God and whatever He's telling you to do, and don't worry about what's going on over there, because He's gonna take care of that. Call your kid when you're done doing what God's doing. Now, trust me, your kid probably was gonna say, "Mom, I don't know if this is an emergency or it is, but I'm trying to find where the peanut butter's at. And I'm hungry. And I can't find the peanut butter. Do you know where it's at? It's like, oh son, we ran out of peanut butter. I'm supposed to go to the grocery store today. That's why I'm going right now to the dollar store to actually get the peanut butter and this and that. You see what I mean? Now you could see that as it was important or emergency, whatever, but it wasn't an important to stop doing what God was trying to tell you to go help somebody because that person probably was gonna go suicide. That person was going through stress, going through depression, going through a breakup, going through anger, going through some anxiety, or going through questions in their mind, or they're just not feeling good. They're just feeling sad today, or whatever it is. You were there to do something for them that God wanted you to do, and you're gonna stop that for a jar of peanut butter jar or a question or whatever. But it wasn't a dying situation. Now let's just say it was a dying situation. Say you call your kids and they're like, "Oh, what's his name? Is choking. It was choking on a I don't know, a ball or something, right? One of the kids started choking on a ball, but whenever he was choking, he's like, "Where is he at?" You know, you're a mom, you're a father, you're gonna worry if you care. You know, you're gonna be like, "Oh, what happened? Where you at? What's going on?" And you're gonna, he's like, "Don't worry, don't, it's okay, man, it's okay. It already came out." And you go find out because you're rushing now over there. You go find out, or over the phone, you're gonna find out that the kid was choking on some ball that went in or whatever. And I don't know. I said then he fell back. He fell down at the moment he was panicking, or someone came and did, push the stomach. Something happened. The ball came out. God took care of that situation. Trust God. Believe this. God will not put you in a position where you're gonna, like, I'm saying it again. Not gonna put you in a position where He wants you to do something for Him, and then He's gonna allow things to happen to you in your other side, what you care most about, okay, or the area you care about doing, okay, for somebody else. It doesn't matter. Give a ride, go get groceries for somebody. I don't bring something, let them borrow money. It doesn't matter. He will take care of that situation. He will never put you in a position where He's gonna harm you over here. He's taking care of you. So He's taking care of your situations. Remember that. He's taking care of your situations. So don't worry about that. It's scary, and it is it's a moment. I mean, it's a shocking moment. But you will you will see the glory of God, how He manifests in His works, in His doing, in His saying. You will know He loves you. He'll take care of you. And sometimes situations like that needs to happen where some emergency really did happen, something real bad, tragic, even almost tragic to death happened. But it's to show that He loves you and He will take care of that. Regardless how He has to take care of it, regardless of how much He has to show you or put you through to prove to you and show you, hey, trust in me. Trust in me, He's gonna say. Because that's what He wants you to do, is trust in Him. And a lot of His trusts are little small, simple ones. To us it's big, but to Him it's simple. And the big ones, like the major tragic, horror terror ones, to Him are normal. You know what I mean? So trust in God. Trust in God. I'm now getting back to everything again. I'm trying to get back into the trusting again and all that. But yeah, trust in Him. I'm gonna leave this and I'm make another video. Um, it went 40 minutes on this one. It was supposed to be 30. Well, not supposed to. I mean, I saw it and I was gonna stop it, but I didn't. So, but I stopped it here at 40 minutes. I don't want people to think it's boring. But may God bless y'all. God bless you all and bless the world.